It was the winter of 1830 when Sister told me that we were going to take a trip across the lines. I had never taken a trip, so I asked Sister, "What's a trip across the lines like?" Her exact words were, "It's a treacherous journey," whatever that meant. Sister tries to protect me from the evil roaming around this place. Kinda hard to stay blind where your eyes open wide and your mind is broad as mine. I'm only 7, but Sister tells me what it is, and she tells me how it is, and she tells me what it's gonna be. When the sun began to go down, Sister makes sure I know it won't be easy. It can't be easy. She says, "I'm gonna tell you what might await you, to make less of what might surprise you. They's gonna want to capture us. If they do, we better hope they kill us. On some days, our stomach will touch our backs. There will be creatures preying on us. Might look like dogs, but a lot more vicious. We've survived temperatures before. We can do it again." Most of the time when Sister talked, I just listened. I can't say everything she said didn't scare me, but when I looked around the plantation, it left me with nothing like fear, but rage, determination, and a burning desire. The sun went down, but we waited. We waited until we think that Massa is sleeping. Before we go away from the plantation, Sister looks me dead in my eye. Even though it was pitch black, we could see each other's eyes. She says to me, "If you hear the dogs, keep going. If you see the torches in the woods, keep going. If they're shouting after you, keep going. Don't ever stop. Keep going. If you want a taste of freedom, keep going." Everything Sister said to me just moments before we took our baby steps to freedom only grew the burning desire that had ignited in me. I was ready. Didn't know how, but I knew when. And it was now. Just me and Sister. We were scared, but the thought that every step was one closer to freedom kept us there. So we ran. And we ran. The seconds were slow. The minutes were long. But the hours... oh, the hours were dreadful. Every step heavier than the last. We slowed down and Sister began saying, "The light! I sees the light!" I asked Sister, "What's the light?" That's how we knows we made it to the stations. The Underground Railroad station, where we found shelter, food, and where we made a plan, with help from the people, the conductors. From the station, we start again, on an unforeseeable and frightful journey. But since we knew freedom was at the end of it, we was ready. We were now heading through South Texas toward Mexico. Night turned to day, we walked. Day turned to night, we still walked. I began to understand what Sister meant by, on some days, our stomach will touch our backs, because now we were starving. We hadn't ate for days. By the next morning, we would reach the severe temperatures Sister had made sure I knew about, so it wouldn't surprise me. The land was dry and extremely scorched. When the heat started to drain all the energy we had in us, Sister said, "We's gonna get through it. We's gotta get through it." We kept going until we reached the end of the pathway. "We's free now, Weber. We's free." But we wasn't free. Not yet. But I didn't tell Sister that. We still had to cross the river. And it was right in front of us. Our first steps of freedom felt unreal. The first one, the second one, and the third one too. Across the river, we found people who were here to help us. Me and Sister still couldn't believe that our vigorous steps led us to freedom. But more and more into Mexico, Sister says, "We seen now." In Mexico, they didn't care what color you was. Me and Sister planned to hold a humble job, but when we could, we promised to go back and help other slaves who were in the position we just was.